Caroline Graveson was really important to Goldsmiths. She was one of the founding vice principals appointed in 1904 to be responsible for the women in the college. So the way the college worked at that time was there was a principal who was in overall charge, and there was a vice principal in charge of the men and a vice principal in charge of the women. And Caroline Graveson came in 1904 to be in charge of the women, and she stayed for nearly 30 years. However, very little is known about her because she was extremely self-effacing. There's only one portrait photograph, and as quite a lot of the history of the college was written by her, there's not been an awful lot said about her. She writes that in the early days when they first joined the college, they spent an awful lot of their time walking around in what was basically a building site, sorting out new staff because all the staff had to be ready to start in 1905. And also walking up and down the roads of New Cross trying to find lodgings for the future students. So she was obviously very hands-on as a vice principal. And then after the First World War broke out, the principal went off to war and the other vice principal became acting principal, and she really was running the majority of the teaching and the issues of the students in the college, because almost all the students remaining were women, because most of the men had gone off to fight. And indeed the warden was killed quite early on in the war at Gallipoli. So Caroline Graveson really kept the college going in many ways for a very long period. There's also a story about how a Zeppelin flew over, and students were not, people were not used to flying bombs at that point in the war, and all the students ran out to look at it. And of course she had to pull them back in again and warn them that actually this was not something you should be going out to look at. You should be, in fact, seeking shelter. The other thing that's said about Caroline Graveson, apart from the fact that she was kind, gentle, generally delightful, was that she had a marvellous voice, which was extremely beautiful but could also fill the Great Hall, which is quite an extraordinary achievement, really, because the Great Hall is a difficult and echoey room or hall. So Caroline Graveson is vitally important for the college because she was a founder member of the college who stayed here for a very long time, spent the last 30 years of her career here, and really needs to be remembered by staff and students.